Hey guys, welcome to the live. I know it's been a minute since we did one about what 6 days ago or something. Anyways, thank you guys for I'm not gonna lie, you guys. I've just seen Mustang gift 5 memberships. Mustang, thank you. You've already outdone yourself. You gifted 6 Christmas trees this morning on the coffee app. So I want to say thank you very much for that. But since she just did that now, let's just take a look at this. Okay, so that was one. So let's see. Ray Jones was gifted a membership. Kimmy Kins, Bonnie Brown, Tina Marina, sorry, and I think that's it. Oh no, Missing and the Unsolved Crime. So those are the people that got the free memberships. Hi, Mark. How are you? So thank you very much, Mustang, for doing that. Yeah, so it's always nice. And you know what? It's going to go off 5 times. Okay. So hi, Heather. How are you? Sharon. Everyone's in the house. Deb's in the house. I seen Deb Gilherd.
Hey, Deb.
Strictly Chaos. You guys, I know it's going to go off 3 more times for the gifted memberships, and I have 5 more memberships that we're going to give out today as well before the end of the month, because YouTube. Oh, Adam, was there movement there? Was there actually movement from you there? Remember at Christmas what happened when Prosecutor's podcast was on and we were all dancing around for Christmas, and you were like that doorstop right there.
There we go.
Got 2 more still. Hi, Diana. How are you? Miranda.
Yeah.
I did yours.
Even though I am tired of Rick Astley. Gotta admit.
Yeah. No, you're not.
No offense, Rick Astley, if you're here.
Yeah. This was one of my favorite songs. And then when they turned it into a Rickroll, I was like, that kind of cracked me up the first time I ever was watching something and then it was a Rickroll. Yeah. Last one. Never gonna know. Come on, Adam. There we go. Thank you, Mustang, for doing that.
That's about as much as I dance.
Okay, I know flashback, right? Okay, so I just want to say that I was confident that 2024 was going to be a good year.
It's still going to be sunny.
And it's still going to be. But so far, I must say, it's like keeps sidetracking me here. Because
that's right.
Because I was like, anyways, I had a toothache. The dentist fixed it. No, hold on. Wait, the dentist didn't fix it. Fixed it. And I was in so much freaking pain for about 3 days. I was like, Tylenol, aspirin, freaking ran out of Advil. And I was sitting there, Oragil. And then all of a sudden, and then I go back and I said, I just have to let you know this because I like to share my feelings. I said, at no point did you tell me that this, should have been like, meaning you're the dentist. Hello, if my nerve is exposed to air and hence why I'm having that type of pain, don't you think a root canal is probably in order?
Yeah.
Not just a freaking spend 2 hours freaking packing it down and then I'm in pain. First time I was ever in pain after coming back from a dentist, meaning where I literally had to go back and go, hello. Yeah. But anyways, and then so I had scheduled a live for Wednesday night, and about an hour and a half prior to that live starting, all of a sudden I hear my husband and Ryan basically kind of yelling, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? Let me just put it this way. I thought that my husband and Ryan had lost their jobs because the boss was so mad about whatever. Ended up being, so everything's flashing before my eyes, everything. I swore we were going to be moving to England, like as of yesterday, and that we were going to start packing up and moving to England, which I'm not against. I'm not going to lie. I'm not really against that. Yeah. So then my husband and Ryan go into this meeting, with the boss and a couple others. My husband lost his shit. And then boss Ryan is like, whoa, 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 easy. No, no, no. Because my husband was like, look, okay, if you want us gone, we'll be gone. Simple as that. Like, da 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 da. And then boss Ryan is like, no, wait, well, no, 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 no. Anyways, by the end of it, it was all of a sudden the boss sided with my husband and whatever. Because if you guys know anything about construction, it's such a disorganized chaos half the time and stuff like that. And it gets very frustrating. But anyways, let me just put it this way. So a half hour before the live, I hear this yelling going on. And next thing I know, as far as I know, our life is about to change and we're about to head off to England. So anyways, then the next day was that. So hence today is Friday. So I always want to say, like, last week, this whole week, really, including some of last week, has been like a nightmare from hell for me. And so, yeah, I'm not going to get into any detail than that, but just meaning, so sorry, I haven't been doing any lives, but that's been the gist of it. And when I'm that stressed out, I'm going to go freaking hide in my shell and not come out of it till I feel like, the last thing I want to do is sit there and pretend like I'm happy or pretend like I'm enjoying the live if I'm not. So I'm not going to do it because obviously I'm too stressed out, and then live's not going to cure that for me. Maybe sometimes it does for different types of anxiety, but I thought my whole life was thrown up in the air and we were moving to England as of, up until yesterday morning.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that sucks. I will say, when Sunny told me that, selfishly, my first thought was, I was like, well, so how far do you think you'll be from, like, the River Ware?
You know what? All I was thinking was, so I guess I could get to Ghost Goose boots on the ground, from my, mother-in-law's home. Because she's
like, well, if you're going to be in England, could you at least maybe do some Nicole Bully follow-up?
Yeah, right? And of course, Steve's mom's like, that's it. Come on, you guys, come on back. I'm just like, okay. Even though I'm not going to lie. I think there was the piece of me that was going, like, my family sucks. There's no denying it. My mom's dead. My dad's dead. My other stepdad's dead. I have another stepdad, but he's still alive, but whatever. Don't talk to him. Not because of me, but just because I gave him like 10 opportunities to keep talking. And it's always like, so what's Tanya up to? Oh, nothing. Why don't you go give her a call instead then? And I'm just pretty much done with him at this point. Tired of trying to call my one stepdad. And it's always like, so how's Tanya doing? I don't give a shit. Why don't you call her up and ask her how she's doing? I'm calling you, okay? But he's the most awkward person to talk to on the phone. But yeah, so I was sitting there thinking about the Christmas that we went to in England and the fun family things that we were doing and all those wicked infrastructures that they got going on over there with those castles. And, I was thinking of, which reminds me, okay, you guys, Nicola Bully's 1 year anniversary is tomorrow. So we'll be doing a live in the afternoon at some point. Well, it'll be Eastern time afternoon, later afternoon. But 1 year tomorrow is Nicola Bully's 1 year since she went missing. Her body was found February 19th, but she disappeared, and that's when they found her phone on the bench and the dog. And anyways, very sad.
Right.
But
technically, it's today already in the UK.
It would be technically today. Exactly. And like I said, and then I guess I could meet John too from Crimes in the Courtroom, I guess, I suppose.
Well, don't make your husband jealous.
But I know it doesn't seem that long ago. And so anyways, yeah, so dentist isn't free in Canada. Medical is. In the United Kingdom, dental's free and medical. But in Canada, dentists, you have to have coverage. You either have to purchase it or you have to get it from your employer. The bonus is when you both have coverage and then it covers each other and wipes it all out. So if I had a job, like an actual job with coverage, my husband has 80%, and I think he has $2,500 a year. But remember, if it costs $1,000, you're paying like $200, right? Of that dental bill, basically. So if I pay $200, I have $2,300 left. But if we both have coverage, then it wipes each other out because whatever his coverage doesn't cover, then my coverage covers. But I don't have dental, so suck it. Yeah.
I did miss you on Wednesday and yesterday because I left Sunny alone yesterday because I knew she was dealing with stuff. I intentionally left her alone, even though there were a few things I was like, oh, I wanted to say this to you, but I left her alone because Sunny and I are alike in the way that sometimes when
I'll talk when I want to.
When things get serious, sometimes we go into our shell and we just to avoid the world and I didn't want to feel rejected, so I just didn't respond. I just didn't message her. But you put out some good videos today, so you made up for it.
I put out Ray Hanish's, yeah.
So you also put out you updated the podcast playlist for the channel.
Did I?
Yeah, it said updated today.
Oh, I didn't know I did.
But I also wanted to say, Mustang, thank you for the
coffees.
Buy me a coffees.
Yeah.
I know you just bought memberships, and I also wanted to say, Mustang, thank you so much for the coffees.
Yeah. Actually, Mustang is the queen of the Buy Me a Coffee app. If I look down the coffee app, if anybody does, like I said, there's all the description in the video has all the, whether it's the follow me on Twitter or Aspen on Twitter, blah, 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 all the coffee apps, PayPal, links to other people's channels. That's always in the description of every live or every video that goes out. So that if anyone doesn't know that, that's where you have to do. But Mustang, she's the queen of the coffees, that's for sure. Or it was still Christmas trees. I turned it back to tacos, Mustang, just so you know.
I also really quickly before we get into everything else, I do want to say, I put it on my Twitter, which I switched Twitters recently, so I only have like 30 followers. But Jennifer Coffindopper came out with a podcast today. Her first episode dropped today. So if I know some people don't like Jennifer Coffindopper, but if you are a fan of Jennifer Coffindopper or you are interested in what she has to say, she did put out a podcast that dropped today. I think it's available anywhere you get your normal podcast. And I believe the first episode has to do with Martha Moxley, John Benet Ramsey, and one other case.
Okay. I was going to say, Adam, it's only because I'm on a different Facebook for another purpose. That's why, because I was going to bring that or pull that up.
Yeah. It's already out now. I mean, it's out now.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, it dropped today.
Yeah, I mean, I like Jennifer Coffindopper, and then there was a moment there where she pissed me off because of the whole Ron Logan, thinking that Ron Logan did it still stuff. And I was like, come on, Jennifer.
Right.
And then I went back to liking her again. And then she was everywhere, just everywhere.
Well, and then I saw today that Susan Hendricks has a new YouTube channel, and there's 2 episodes out on Susan Hendricks' new YouTube channel.
Oh, well, look at them all go. You know, everybody knows that the way to go is to have their, whatever it is, their show, and then have a YouTube channel. Right. And, you know.
Including the judge in Idaho.
Including the judge in Idaho. Yeah, right.
I was waiting for him to start the hearing out for Brian Koberger today by saying, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm the judge. Hammer down. Actually, let's just quickly talk about that before we get into anything here. So I caught a little bit of that trial. And what happened to 2024? Because they're all voting now for summer of 2025. And you could just see the judge's face going, like 2025, are you serious?
I felt for him.
Yeah, because he literally could not make a choice today. No. And he just said it's, he has a couple of whatever months to decide. And then he was kind of hoping for like March of 2025. I'm like, what the shit have these people been doing all this time? But the defense was saying that they've had She goes, well, it's not very nice, when witnesses are slamming the door in your face.
Right. Well,
And
and
stuff
I mean,
like that.
I'm not a tech person, so this means nothing to me. But when the defense said in the hearing today that they have 51 terabytes of data in Discovery to review and to schedule interviews for and to go over, how limiting that was. To me, that 51 terabytes means nothing, but apparently it's an astronomical
It's a
amount
lot. Yeah.
of Discovery. And I think that was reflected when Judge said, I don't want to set a trial date for as far out as 2025.
Yeah.
But if that's what I have to do, that's what we'll do, and we'll just have to see.
Yeah.
I did find it interesting that for anyone that didn't watch the hearing, at the beginning of the hearing for Bryan Kohberger today, one of the first things, the very first thing that the defense brought up was their wish to bring the matter of getting Bryan Kohberger's indictment through the grand jury thrown out.
Yeah.
And their solution to getting that done is to take it to the Idaho Supreme Court.
Right.
So immediately I was like, ding, 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 Delphi much?
Right.
I'm like, is this just the new trend that we know when when we don't get our way, we take things to the Supreme Court? Or when things are done improperly, do we take things to the Supreme Court?
Yeah.
So.
And she's like, and Judge, plus there's still going to be a ton more motions that we're going to be.
Of course. And the judge was like, no, I don't think so. But to be continued on that.
Right. And you're just like, come on. I mean, ridiculous. 2025. Come on now. I mean, It's been over a year already. And now you want to go, to 2025 summer, basically 3 years. Pretty much 3 years, right?
Right.
Come on. Anyways, we'll see what happens there. So moving on to, we have to talk about this quickly before we get into our other three cases, guys.
Yeah.
Ray Hanish, of course. So yesterday, like I said, I was talking to Ginger and I said, look, actually, was it yesterday? Yeah, I said, I'm having like personal life issues here. So it was kind of one of those things that I know Mel Roberts had done the live. Perfect. And she had a couple people coming on there. Anyways,
who did she have on there, Sunny?
Were you on there? I didn't see it all. Were you on there?
Yes, I was.
Were you? Well, yeah. It must have been later because
I came in about 30 or 45 minutes into it.
Okay. And I was going to say, I probably watched it for about 20, 25 minutes.
Yeah.
So I perfectly knew that Adam was going to be on and I was like, I'm out of here for this. But anyway, so actually I was opting if I wanted to. I was lying in bed going, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. Honestly, I was just wanting to hibernate. I was so exhausted after what I'd just gone through with my husband and his job and my mother-in-law. Because they both work at the same place, right? So I was just like, I am wiped out between the tooth, between the freaking that. I'm just wiped. But anyway, so that's why this morning I got up and I was like, I'm going to make a video because obviously we've talked about the Ray Hanish case and Nicole Bowen's case along with Delphi, just like Karina McClurkin's case and stuff like that. So yesterday, of course, was the plea deal that came out. And it was 55 consecutive years, which obviously means it doesn't run. Concurrent means it runs together. Consecutive means that it runs after the other one. I don't think Garrett Kurtz had a leg to stand on, considering one of his main witnesses against him was Talitha Beckley. So much for that, right? But tides turn very fast. But anyways, so on February 20th, coming up, that's when the families can make the victim statements.
That's when his sentencing hearing
and his sentencing hearing is, and and he can speak too. So I'm so happy because what happened with Nicole Bowen's case, right? Nicole Bowen's murder, which we all know, that Ashley Garth and Garrett Kurtz both sit in the prison. Ashley got 48 years, 55. And if you're following case by case, she's been covering Ashley Garth and she's got Ray Hanish on there and a lot of interviews and different things going on, and Nicole Bowen as well and stuff like that. So it's so nice that the two families, through grief and pain and sadness, came together and support each other, because again, at the hands of Garrett Kurtz. And so Dottie, which is the one on the left, and Cher, which is the one on the right. And then there is more. So Cheryl is Nicole Bowen's mom, and then Ginger
Ginger's-
GP is the aunt, and then there's Roxy, which is the sister. Like there's more family members, but these are the ones that we see all the time. Is Ginger, Cher, and Dottie. And so again, our biggest prayers and blessings, because they had that piece of shit Robert Guy prosecutor dude. And then when Mark Delgado came into office, into the white court prosecutor there, and took over it, and he requested that this case be reviewed, and then he brought in a grand jury and they indicted Garrett Kurtz. Again, blessings and prayers. So obviously the stars aligned that Robert Guy wasn't handling the case. Piece of shit. Sorry, Guy. But anyways, because he's the one that basically said, you know what, when you
This
live
is
a
lifestyle.
lifestyle like that, stuff like this to be expected. And, Nicole, I mean, they got 55 years, and,
Yeah.
like Garrett Kurtz got 55 years for that. So, think of that as kind of like a consolation prize. But no, Ray needed his own justice. So blessings and prayers, and a big thank you to Mark Delgado and to Mel Roberts, of course, because Mel
Right,
has
and-
been there supporting, the families, and just been a very, very, very big advocate. And this channel has loved and cared about Ray Hanish and the family members as well. But, I mean, kudos though to Mel Roberts, because
Right. She shows
this is before my time on YouTube even.
and Randy Gravitt was there as well. So I do want to point.
Oh yeah,
that.
I heard that. Okay, I did see that for a moment, that Randy Gravitt, because he was on Mel's channel. That's
Yeah, he
right.
was.
Yeah, and that. So, anyways,
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
no. I just wanted to make sure. Hi, Miss Depp. I'm here finally taking a deep cleansing breath. You want to take a deep cleansing breath together?
And I know we have a lot of other things to talk about tonight. So, but I do want to say quickly, I wanted to thank Mel for letting me come on, because,
Yeah.
I was very appreciative that, of what that was my main thing for
Mhm.
going on, is that I wanted to thank her and Randy for showing up for the families, because even though they've had Sonny and my support behind the scenes, and on lives, but most recently behind the scenes, and I know that even Cher and Dottie, they had a flat tire on their way to court yesterday, and someone literally had to come, and they didn't have a spare.
Oh.
Someone had to come and pick them up and take them, and then they got stopped by a train. So it was a comedy of errors almost in getting to the courtroom.
Oh.
But I wanted to just
Right.
show my appreciation to Mel and Randy for being there, and I'm so appreciative too that that I know that the family's biggest worry was that this plea was going to end up being concurrent. And so the fact that it's going to be consecutive most likely means that Garrett Kurtz is going to die exactly where he belongs.
Exactly.
And that's rotting in in Pendleton Penitentiary. And why he was so smug and smirking in court yesterday, I don't know. Sporting his brand new prison neck tattoo, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? He can continue smirking and being smug as long as he wants, because he's got the rest of his life to sit there and think about what he's done.
Well, I was going to say, when they come out all smirking and stuff like that, really the joke's on them. They're the ones sitting in prison behind bars. And that's just like a fake facade that they come out with, really. Like that they think that somehow, which is it does sometimes work on people, but they just kind of come out there all smug, whatever, while the victims are dead. And it's such a disrespect and such a disregard. And Garrett Kurtz, he's a piece of shit no matter how you slice or dice him. That guy is just a piece of shit. For him to do that, to, like I said, like when he makes those comments, like, I loved her to death. Yeah, that's exactly it, right? You loved her to death. You took their
Right.
lives, you deserve to reap what you sowed, dude. Hope you keep getting your butt whacked from behind and whatever, dude. Enjoy your
Well,
time, the rest of your life behind bars, thinking
and
you're somebody.
and it was after I left the stream, which it's probably good because I try to be respectful to everyone, and I absolutely believe that if your loved one does something horrific, you can still support them and love them. But I guess Ashley Garth's father came into Mel's live
Okay,
into his chat into her
okay,
chat last night
really,
after I left the stream, proclaiming Ashley's innocence all around the board, I guess.
okay.
Um, and my ultimate thought was that you know what, no one that I listened to on that stream or has put blame on Ashley Garth as far as Ray's as being responsible for Ray's death.
Right.
Um, so it was neither the place or the time for that. I find it highly disrespectful. But that's his right. It's his daughter. That's fine. But I thought that Mel handled
Well,
it very, very well.
it's first of all, it's very rare that you're going to find a parent that doesn't believe in their child's innocence and stuff
Absolutely.
like that. So, I mean, I get it regardless of whatever, but obviously you're correct. That wouldn't be the time or the place because Ashley Garth is very nominally, like, it was always questioned about her with Ray's a little bit about like why her phone was there, but said that was due to Derek Kurtz, but there was never any big social media blitzing on Ashley Garth for raising, but there was questions about did she play something in there because her phone was found there, and it was said that they were like, looking them up on Grinder or whatever, but who knows? Anyways, whatever. Hey, at the end of the day, if Mel or whatever let him stay in there and didn't mind him spewing off all that stuff, then you know
She handled it really, really respectfully, I thought.
yeah, but it was truly about Ray and the
Yeah.
justice for Ray and the murder of Ray. And the only person that was charged was Garrett Kurtz, not Ashley Garth, not anybody else. It was just simply that it was Garrett Kurtz, you know.
Absolutely.
So anyways, regardless, again, I just want to say to the families of both Nicole Bowen and Ray Hanish, prayers. So sorry, nothing could ever take away any pain or sadness, and they've been through a lot. They've been through more than you could ever imagine. Like, honestly, if you knew more of the backstory.
Right.
And so, anyways, prayers. We love you,
Love
and
you.
justice for both Nicole and Ray Hanish.
Yeah.
Finally, I support with Stefan. Okay,
And CJK, really quickly, I don't remember exactly what she said, but if you want to listen, it was a longer stream. But if you just go to the last 30 or 45 minutes, you should be able to find it easy. Sorry.
Oh no, actually, you know what? Before we get going, only because so you're gonna hear a little bit of the song on the outro, but so if you guys don't know who the Docket is, especially on Twitter, he's the one that drops documents all the time for people. Really great dude. Um, I've been talking to him, helping him out with some things. Both him and Kathy has come into our lives as well. Been so appreciative of that. And it's kind of like anything. Some people don't have the technical things to do. Like, for instance, the Docket, his name is Eric. He's really good at resourcing those paperwork, right? The Idaho, all those different cases going on. Whereas maybe his forte is not, like an intro or having
Like me.
overlay and stuff like that. So I do want to show you because the Docket, if you guys are not subscribed to him on his channel or on his Twitter, you guys should really do that. I think in the link is that, but it's the Docket on YouTube here. But anyways, I want to show you guys the intro before we just get right into it, because I'm thinking for timing wise, I'd probably rather do it now than after or whatever. Right. So I think I'm going to show that first. And you guys can tell me if you guys really like it. I mean, I did it. I kind of like it myself, but did you ever see it?
Yeah.
I showed you it, yeah?
Unless you changed it.
No. Now I did.
Because remember, the only thing I said I would change is the color of the font on one of the things.
Oh, yes, you're right. Anyways, I ended up making a couple small changes to it. But so anyway, so this is the intro I made for the Docket. And normally I wouldn't sit here and gloat, and it's not about gloating, you guys. I just really want you guys to go to subscribe to the Docket, but this is the intro, and it's kind of because I love the song. A Norfolk night, the world is cold. We stand surrounded, we are not alone. Within my reverie, there's holy light. Without a number, we stand and fight. A Norfolk night, the world is cold. We stand surrounded, we are not alone. Within my reverie, there's holy light. Without a number, we stand and fight. Okay. Did you guys like it? Wait, hold on. I gotta come back now.
Yeah, it's great.
Did you guys like that? Anyways, yeah, because he had given me all these cases, right? And anyways, I love the song that I found, copyright free. Anyways, so the Docket again. I'm gonna go grab it because his, like I said, if anyone's not following him on Twitter or on his YouTube channel, again, a guy, don't want to talk about somebody that's resourceful with documents, that would be him. And again, his name is Eric. So 1 second here, the Docket. There we go. I think it's in the description on there. There we go. Docket 71. So I'm just going to quickly post his link in here for that. And if you're on Twitter, it's at Chasing Paper 89. Okay, so now we're gonna go back to our regularly scheduled program. Okay, and towards the end of the live, I'll give out those 5 memberships as well. And share screen. And let's see here. So, okay, so let's talk about this case right here first. So I don't know a lot about it. There's not a ton about it out there. So I'm going to play the video clip first, just so you get a grasp, and then we can talk about it. Basically what it is this doctor, she dies recently, sudden death. They think it's like suicide or whatever. But 3 years before this, with the same firefighter, another female has died in his home. So it's one of those things, right? Okay, once, but now twice. And just so you know, guys know, Charmaine, she's traveling down to Calgary and that today. And thank Charmaine, thank you so much. And you know why? And I was just like, well, you know what? Just bring your mom on the live too. I don't care. But anyways, and Alexa, you guys has been busy doing her dad's job. So she said at some point next week we're gonna do Rex Hewerman and the letter next week. So she just messaged me this morning. So yeah, the outro's gone. It's a different outro now.
Hey Lisa, I hope you're feeling well.
Yeah, Lisa, how are you doing over there? On there, yeah. A lot of people. Thing is that a lot of people that watch us, right? We're all getting up there in years. Most of us, a lot of us, and health issues, and not you, Adam. No, ixnay. But yeah, so blessings and prayers to anyone, of course, including myself, with my diabetes. I noticed I have another leg ulcer trying to start, and I'm like, no, go away, go away. And my husband's like, too much sugar.
It's just gonna be Deb and I left at the end of the day.
Pretty much. pretty much. So I'm just going to play this clip out, guys, and then we'll talk about it. This one's just 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
Yeah, I don't know about this case, so I want to hear it too.
This woman at a local firefighter's house in Frontenac Saturday. Her attorney tells First Alert 4 investigates she absolutely had a life-threatening condition, but her autopsy results are still pending. And another local family says they just want to ensure her death is fully investigated. Here's First Alert 4 Chief Investigator Lauren Traeger. The reason that family wants those answers is because their loved one died in a home of that same local firefighter about 3.5 years ago.
My fiance just shot herself.
Your fiance just shot herself?
Yes.
Back in 2021, First Alert 4 Investigates revealed questions about Grace Holland's death. She died from a single gunshot wound to the head in 2020, and Creve Coeur police ruled her death a suicide. But Grace's family was still is concerned by how the investigation was handled. In part, they say, because Grace's fiance was a captain in a neighboring fire department. Then Saturday, Sarah Sweeney, a local doctor, was found deceased inside that same firefighter's home, this time on Conway in Frontenac. First Alert 4 is choosing not to name the firefighter. Sweeney's death has so far been classified as a sudden death only. The medical examiner's office telling us an autopsy has been completed, but they are awaiting toxicology reports, which could take 4 to 6 weeks. In these court records filed in November 2022, Sweeney claimed she had been harassed at her previous employer, and in the suit indicated she had serious medical conditions, including a bone disorder and mast cell activation disorder, and that she had even been hospitalized and intubated in 2021. Tuesday, her attorney in that case told First Alert 4 Investigates she had spoken to Sweeney recently, saying Sweeney, quote, absolutely had a life-threatening condition, but that it was not related to what was outlined in the suit. She declined, though, to say more about the condition. Still, an attorney for Grace Holland's family says their previous statement to us still stands, telling us, quote, we are saddened to learn of another death, especially of such a young person. We hope that the Frontenac police do what the Creve Coeur police and the county medical examiner didn't do in the past and fully investigate this tragedy.
We have reached out to an attorney representing that firefighter who has not yet provided us comment. He is being sued by Grace Holland's family for wrongful death, but that case is still pending. We also spoke with Sweeney's family again today, who say they hadn't spoken to her in 2 years. They too are hoping for more clarity about exactly what happened. We will certainly keep following this case and bring you any developments as soon as we get them.
Like I said, there's not really a ton out there, but it's just one of those things that even Alexa had sent me the story, but I'd already seen it. And I was like, I know, right? What do you think?
Well, I have to say, when you kind of previewed the story and you said the same firefighter, I didn't realize, because you didn't say it, it's not just because I was thinking, oh, the same firefighter responded to this case and this case. Mm-hmm. No, it was his house.
Yes, it was his house. Yes.
So it's not just like, oh, he was a peripheral character in this.
Right.
He clearly was personally involved with both of these individuals.
Yeah.
That's, that changes the whole dialogue.
Oh, okay. Fibro says we have a cop case in Southern Illinois, so similar. Ours is Justice for Molly.
Fibro, Molly who?
Just Google Molly. But yeah, so you're saying it's similar to this one. So
Wow.
right.
That's
So I mean,
wild.
it's just one of those things, like, right? I mean, what's the chances? It's kind of like what happened in the Vallow case. Her brother dies, her husband dies, and it's, just all an accident and stuff like that.
Right.
And then the truth starts coming out. So this is one of those cases where you're like, okay, so 3 years ago, your whatever girlfriend, fiance dies, and then all of a sudden this fiance dies like 3 years later in your house, type of thing. The first one is
That's quite a
gunshot.
bit.
Yeah. So let me just put it this way. It's just simply a case that will, follow along and see.
When did this happen? So I probably wasn't paying attention at the beginning of it.
It was a couple weeks ago, maybe a week and a half ago, a couple weeks ago.
So
Kind of
more
flies.
to come.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, and then the other story, there's three, but we'll save the backyard one for last. And the other one is
That backyard case. It's made me almost want to go live every day this week.
okay, why is that coming up for that when I show it? Let me find that. Hold on. Okay. So, do you guys know about this case here about the Mojave Desert? Have any of you guys heard about those 6 people that were found shot to death in the Mojave
A couple
Desert?
people did live streams about it. I think Gray Hughes did one Wednesday night, the night we were going to do it. We were originally going to cover it.
Yeah.
I think a few people did do streams about it.
Okay. So we were going to do this on Wednesday when it basically had happened, because Adam had sent me, the thing for it saying, hey, like, have you seen this type of thing? So it was just kind of fresh off the plate. But again, we ended up not doing the live for reasons I already said at the start of the stream. But anyways, so I'm just going to play this out and this is about 8 minutes and 55 for this one, guys.
All right. And just quickly, misstep. I was talking about the backyard thing, the Kansas City backyard case, where the 3 guys were frozen. Sorry.
Right. Yeah. We'll be listening to some of Nancy Grace on that one as well.
Oh, yay.
Yeah. Okay. So let's play this one out.
Gruesome scene in the high desert. 6 people found dead on a remote road there. KCAL's Jasmine Veal is working that story for us right now.
So I'm here on a dirt road right off about 2 miles from Highway 395, 10 miles north of Adelanto. And you can see the crime tape that is set up behind me here. And just beyond this, of course, the investigation that is continuing into these murders. 6 people found dead, their bodies piled up next to some vehicles, 2 vehicles, a white van and a dark blue SUV. That SUV riddled with bullet holes, dozens of evidence markers surrounding it. And we do not know the identities of the 6 people killed. As this investigation is unfolding, all the sheriff's department would tell us with San Bernardino County is that they responded out here around 8 o'clock Tuesday night for a welfare check, somehow connected to that white van. When they showed up, that's when they discovered the bodies. We don't know how they were killed, although again, it looks like bullet holes and some of the windows are blown out in that SUV. And then they discovered the 6th person, that 6th body, just this morning, Wednesday morning. And so now you have 6 people dead. We do not have anything on any suspects or again, how and why this may have happened out here in this remote area in the Mojave Desert. We did hear, even though this is outside Adelanto city limits, we heard from the mayor saying he's praying for the safety of the families of these victims. And of course, he wants justice. But we're not hearing much from investigators They held a news conference Wednesday morning with very little information. Again, they would not even confirm if it was a shooting that happened out here. It took us down this long dirt road off the highway. So whatever may be the case, these two vehicles came out here at some point, and we don't even know if the bodies were dumped, but the fact that 6 people were found dead out here as investigators are trying to get to the bottom of this, have the coroner come out, who is yet to remove the bodies. And so we're going to have the latest coming up on KCAL News on the investigation. And also I was talking to locals in Adelanto. Of course, the news has spread there to the city, and they say they've seen an increase in crime. This is very frightening, and with such a gruesome crime scene. Again, all of this and the latest coming up on KCAL News tonight.
All right, thanks a lot, Jasmine. Closing arguments have just wrapped up in a road rage shooting case that left a 6-year-old child dead.
Apparently, it wasn't 8 minutes long. It was also including some other coverage. We don't want to hear about another child on this. We'll just talk about that. We'll just go back to the one at hand here. So this one's pretty crazy. Like I said, no identities as of yet, and I was confused by that too. Support with Stefa about a welfare check in the desert. Like I don't get that. Doing a welfare check in the desert. Did anyone explain that to me? Anna, Lisette? A quick check of the Mojave case shows that the permits are required to take vehicles into the area, which is Bureau of Land Management, BLM land. Oh, okay. So again, it's kind of like a big story, but yet there's not a lot out there.
I mean, I know I got when we first scheduled the live on Wednesday, I got a few messages from people, I guess, that had saw that we were going to cover it. One especially that lives in that area. That said that it was cartel related.
That's what I'm thinking.
And fentanyl, especially. Actually, let me look back at this message just really quickly.
Okay.
Just to make sure
my gut instinct when I heard of this, I was instantly thinking this had something to do with drugs.
Unless there's been a really bad batch of Molly going around.
There's Molly again.
Mixed with MDMA, which is kind of the street name for like ecstasy. But it mixed with fentanyl, and that people have been dropping like flies in the LA area. It looks like they could have had something to do with the distribution of it. That's speculation, but that's from someone local.
You know, like I said, sometimes when you just listen to cases, that's the first thing that came right to my mind was some sort of drug thing went down. That's probably what it will end up being, probably. Most likely. That's kind of what seems to fit what finding 6 bodies in another van and another vehicle and tons of obviously shooting going on. You guys see all those markers? There was like hordes of markers everywhere. Well, you didn't see them probably in this one perhaps, but just like markers everywhere and like the window blasted out, bullet holes everywhere. Yeah.
Like I know the desert always looks the same no matter where you are, but when I saw the footage that you were showing of this reporter talking earlier, I kept thinking of
Hey Travis.
Oh my Lord. I kept thinking of dry. Oh my gosh, what is wrong with me?
I don't know. You tired?
I'm not actually.
Brain cells? They're kind of around. Oh, okay.
Suzanne Morphew, where she was found.
Yes.
Like I said, I know that all desert areas look similar, but I think just seeing all the cars along this very rural area, and then seeing the reporter out there, I was like, this looks just like where Suzanne Morphew was found.
Yeah. Well, exactly. in a desert like area, like, well, I don't know, tumbleweeds is what I call those type of areas. But so yeah, so we'll have to see how that story progresses and comes along. And yeah, hey Travis, how you doing, buddy? They will probably run to Texas. That's where they all come from, right?
Well,
Right.
yeah,
right
they're
over
headed.
here.
They're headed to Travis's house.
That's what I was just gonna say. Travis has got his door open wide.
Travis has got his money gun up. He's like, I'm here to buy. Okay.
You think Travis is really into being cartel? Like this whole lawyer thing is a front?
Well,
You
probably.
think? I don't know. Kind of almost seems sus, don't you think? A little bit. Okay, so that story, like I said, crazy, of course, meaning, that, 6 people, and it's like
Tragic.
they found 5 and then they found 1, I think, the next
The
morning.
next morning, yeah.
Yeah. Buckwheat pancakes, get you.
Hey, Travis, we don't talk about wheat here.
Yeah.
We're gluten intolerant.
Yeah. Okay, and so the other one here, I gotta find where I have it. Okay, actually, let me just quickly share that. So
Yeah.
you guys, let me just quickly make it bigger. Anyways, you see all those little yellow things on the ground, like Marker City on there, just markers everywhere. So crazy. Now let me go back to what I was gonna show. And which one do I want? I think paper flying. Nope, not that one.
I want to say, Will, Sonny's pulling that up. This Kansas City case that, we don't know that there's anything nefarious for sure that's happened yet. There's very absolutely unanswered questions that don't make sense in a lot of people's minds. I'm just very grateful that this case has taken off and picked up, because we started
Adam, I'll
covering.
be right back. Just give me a minute.
Okay, we started covering it right. I think one of the first nights that it became more of a national story, and I'm so glad that a lot of other channels are now covering it and are asking the same questions as far as some of this stuff doesn't make sense, and it's hard because no one wants to accuse Jordan Willis, who was the renter of the home where the 3 men were found deceased in the backyard, but no one can dispute that there are unanswered questions in this case, and a lot of the facts don't make sense. Sorry. So I'm really grateful that that a lot of other channels have picked up this case. I know ICML's covering it. I think Gray Hughes covered it. News Nation's been covering it. I think several other channels have probably been covering it now at this point, but I'm just grateful for that because I know that these victims' families have felt they want their voices out there, and I guess YouTube's been one of the ways they can get them out there. So. Well, we're waiting for Sunny to come back and pull that up.
I'm back.
Okay. No, perfect timing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I literally just sat down when you said that.
Sorry.
Okay. So yes. So we're gonna play this, and then we'll go over to the Nancy Grace after this one. But this was an article that I had just seen for it. Weird. Just weird.
The whole thing is bizarre.
Yeah. Oh, we get to watch an ad first.
I'll be right back.
Easy, automatic.
Surrounding 3 bodies found in the backyard of a Northland home. Ricky Johnson, Clayton McGreeney, and David Harrington were found dead on January 9th. We are still waiting for the autopsy report to determine how they died, but foul play has been ruled out.
Tonight, we're hearing from the lawyer of the man who owns that house. He talked to KCTV5's Grace Smith, and she joins us now live. Grace, what is he saying about this mystery?
Yeah, Carolyn, he tells me he wants to make one thing clear. Jordan Willis is not responsible for the 3 deaths of the men found in the backyard of this home here. However, the family says they're not buying it.
And none of the stories are not even adding up of what he's saying. How do you not know there's 3 dead bodies in the back porch?
Adriana Juarez is the mother of Ricky Johnson's child. He's one of the men found dead in the backyard of Jordan Willis's house.
Jordan had absolutely nothing to do with the deaths of his 3 friends.
John Paserno is Willis's attorney. He says the men decided to go to Willis's house after watching the Chiefs game against the Chargers.
And then in the early morning hours, Jordan, around 2 a.m., he believes, he got sleepy. He said, I'm going to crash on the couch. And he said goodbye to his buddies, and he thought that they left out the front door.
Paserno says the 5th man, who hasn't been identified by police, left about an hour before Willis went to the couch.
That's the last time he saw them, and he didn't know anything about them being in his backyard until police knocked on the door Tuesday evening at approximately 10 p.m.
With the case getting attention from around the country, Johnson's family says it's hard to even look at social media.
I never thought it would get as much attention as it has. I mean, I'm hoping that with the attention that it is getting, that it will get us closer to getting answers.
To find out what exactly happened in that backyard.
He doesn't have any suspicions about how they died any more than you do or I do, or unfortunately, the families who are grieving over the loss of their loved ones.
He says Willis has moved out of this home that he was renting, as we have reported to you. And he also told me that today he has taken a leave of absence from his job. Now, we are still waiting from the medical examiner's office to determine how these 3 men died, and we will be sure to keep you updated when we learn that information. Reporting live in the Northland, Grace Smith, KCTV 5 News.
Hey, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you slice or dice it. This is weird. It's weird, right? So, of course, his lawyer is going to say, he did nothing wrong, that has no part of it and stuff like that. And it might very well turn out to be that's the case. But what's weird about it is that the vehicles, like whether they were in the driveway or in the front of his yard, come on, I'm pretty sure the guy's just not a total recluse for a couple of days. He didn't look at any of his messages. He didn't either go outside. He didn't see the cars. And then whatever you said there, Stefa, keys. So I guess there was keys. So did they say that they found keys in that? Okay, if my friends' wallets and keys were in my house, I would wonder why. There's just a lot of things that we don't know. But is it weird? Is it strange? Does it make you raise an eyebrow? Absolutely, because this isn't normal. That 3 guys, and Adam, I'm not sure are you back? I'm not sure, but I think you were the one that actually said that they had left at different times. But that doesn't sound right to me, to be honest. It almost feels like, okay, so there was a 5th guy there. And so from what I read is that when the 5th guy was there and then left, everyone was fine and alive when he had left. Yeah, wallets and keys, phones in the house. Okay, thank you. Okay, because I hadn't heard that one yet. But I'm sure that there's more things I haven't heard as well. So it doesn't make sense. And then he moves out of the house. I'm with Texas Best Aid. We are a nation of laws and borders for our protection, not to mention it overburdens welfare and hospital systems on there. Well, absolutely. The man's works at home studying viral protein structures. I can imagine him working on the computer every day, all day, oblivious to all else. See, I know that you're the devil's advocate, Anna Lisette, to try to give people a thought from the opposite side of thing. I don't know how well it's working too much, but because there's too many things going. This is strange. This is odd. This doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem right. And I guess when the toxicology report and that come back, I think that there's I feel like, well, I don't know. I mean, if I was to guess, I'm going to guess that there was drugs in the system of all of them. Hence, maybe not Willis over there. but that's the only thing that seems logical about 3 dead guys in a backyard. Oh no, it's okay, CJK. So I don't know. Hypothermia with some amount of alcohol will cause the death. See, I still can't see that one. I can't even see that. Like, it's not like it was cold. Like, to me, it's not like it was cold. Like, I can't see that one, Travis, myself. I mean, time's going to tell the story, I suppose. Well, hold on. So it was 35. Hey, Siri, what's 35 degrees in Celsius?
35 degrees Fahrenheit is 1.7 degrees Celsius.
Okay, that's probably wrong. I probably didn't say that right. Hey, Siri, what's 35 degrees Fahrenheit in Celsius?
35 degrees Fahrenheit is 1.7 degrees
No,
Celsius.
that's not what I'm asking you. Am I asking the wrong thing to Siri for some stupid reason? Hey, Siri, what's 35 Fahrenheit in Celsius?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Oh,
Could
shit.
you restate the question?
No. You guys, am I saying it wrong? Hey, Siri, what's 35 Fahrenheit in Celsius?
35 degrees Fahrenheit is 1.7 degrees Celsius.
1 point. Okay, so it's +1? So basically they're saying it's +1. Okay, about 2. Okay. That's not cold. That's not freezing temperatures. That's like Canada. Come on, you guys. We live in that stuff all the time. 1 degrees is not cold. It's cold, but it's not cold. So I just can't. Oh, hey, Psychic Sleuth. It's enough for ice and snow, but it's not freezing because you have to be below 0 for it to be freezing. Well, it's cold, but it's not below 0, so it's not freezing that way, if you get what I mean. Above freezing, and you can get hypothermia. I'm not buying 3 guys died of hypothermia myself. Who knows what the answer is gonna lie? Psychic Sleuth, Rochelle. Rochelle, what do you think? What do you think? You know, I don't think that they had their jacket on, because I remember the one, I think it was the father saying something that they didn't have the jacket on either.
No, they didn't have at least one of them did not have their coats on.
Yeah. On there. Yeah. I don't know. So.
And I believe they had their cell phones with them.
Pardon?
And I believe they had their cell phones on them. Meaning that, if they did get stranded outside for some reason.
Guys. Can you see it, Adam? Can you see 3 guys having a few drinks and freezing to death outside? I can understand 1. 3 people. Yeah. I mean, if it turns out to be that, then it is what it is, obviously.
Right.
I haven't done a reading on it yet. I was going to pull cards. The dude is a scientist. Right. Like we're not talking about a dummy here, right? We're talking about a smart dude.
Oh, Sharon Parker, I'm sorry, I hadn't heard that. With the cell, I thought the cell phones were on them, but if they were found in the house, that's even more interesting. Who leaves without their cell phone and coat?
Well, I was going to say, because it was, I think it was Stefan that said the car keys were left, phones, I think it was. And I know from one of the dads said, like, he didn't have the coat, but they passed out and froze. They may have passed out and froze, OD. I think that there's some wicked shit and some wicked drug that they took. Right. That's what I think. What do you?
Well, the parents on one of the parents of one of the victims are saying that they think they saw something they shouldn't have saw. That's a much stronger statement than I'm going to make, of course. But
yeah,
You know, these families are desperate for answers.
Yeah. Anna says, according to an article in The Guardian, low temperature that day was 29 degrees Fahrenheit. Nobody would flash freeze at that temperature. Certainly not 3 healthy men at once. Well, that's just it. Yeah. That's what, well, okay, that's what crossed my mind, okay? Psychic Sleuth. My mind went to Mr. Concoction over there, made some good shit, and played dumb to the whole stuff until it was, because like, meaning, remember, the lady goes into the house, she breaks into the house,
right? This
and
this is where I start to have problems with everything.
You know what, Adam, you go on for a second, go on about it.
You know, I mean, you know, like, you know, I get, like, you know, what Anna was saying earlier about, like, you know, this guy, you know, he had a, you know, presumably a demanding job. He's, you know, he may have been busy that Monday and part of that Tuesday at work. But you know what? Typically, you notice repeated calls and texts to your phone about friends that you'd spent Sunday evening with.
Yeah.
That's my speculation. But then I also speculate you would hear someone breaking into your home. Not only then breaking into your home, but, you know, April, the fiance of one of the victim or one of the deceased men, broke into the home, then found, you know, one of the victims on the back porch, deceased, called police. Jordan Willis himself did not come down until police were at the front door. And he came down in his boxer shorts.
And a glass of wine.
Water. It was a wine glass, but there was water in it.
Oh, is water?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, there's just a lot of unanswered questions I have, and I'm not accusing Jordan Willis of doing anything. I'm just saying I have a lot of unanswered questions, and you know, I don't blame him for hiring a lawyer. I probably would have if I were in that situation as well. I just have unanswered questions.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, let's just say hypothetically that Jordan Willis had something to do with it. If he did, let's just say if it turns out that he did, I wouldn't think it was premeditated.
Malicious.
I would think it was an accidental, experimental, some shit happening.
And if he didn't, I still have unanswered questions.
Right. It's just weird.
It's a weird case. And we wouldn't be talking about it if it wasn't a weird case. You know, I mean, if, you know, if, you know, he had called 911 that night and said, my 3 friends went out to smoke in the backyard and they never came back and I found them the next morning frozen to death. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I can't, my heart breaks because these are 3 of your friends from how long ago that, you know, are no longer with us. And you had to experience that. That's not what happened.
Okay. Well,
I'm going to be quiet now because I see Nancy.
Yeah. Let's listen to what Nancy has to say. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, can I do my chin like that?
Yeah.
To say the Chiefs win. So 4 diehard fans get together and they watch the game. So how do 3 of them end up dead?
Wait.
On the porch in the backyard. Focus on porch.
Hold on.
Right outside the door.
You got to listen to one part she says, Adam, that will make you laugh.
There's a party watching the Kansas City Chiefs. And who wouldn't? Everybody wants to see Taylor Swift, right? Oh, excuse me. Everybody wants to see the Chiefs win. So 4 diehard fans get together and they watch the game. So how do 3 of them end up dead on the porch in the backyard? Focus on porch right outside the door. You can see it. How do 3 of the friends end up dead? And the 4th friend claims he was, quote, asleep. For 2 days? He was asleep for 2 days. He never went outside and saw the dead body. Okay, I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. Thanks for being with us here at Crime Stories and on Sirius XM 111. What do we know? Listen.
On January 8, friends and family of David Harrington, Ricky Johnson, and Clayton McGreeney are concerned about their friends. The last they knew is they were headed to Jordan Willis' house to watch the game. But now none of the guys, including Jordan Willis, are replying to messages on social media or by phone.
Okay, right there. January 8th, it's cold. They are partying at Jordan's home, Jordan Willis, the homeowner. They're watching the Chiefs, and the next thing you know, 3 are dead, and one claims he's been asleep for days. With me, an all-star panel. But first, I want to go to the woman who has been breaking news about the story from the get-go. It's Jen Smith, and she is joining us from dailymail.com. Jen, that's where I first found out about this, and it really just hit me in the face. This guy, Jordan Willis, I mean, he's no idiot. Isn't he a scientist? He's a young guy, big Kansas City Chiefs fan, but he's smart. He's really smart. I don't get how he sleeps for how many days while his friends are dead in the backyard.
Yeah, I mean, very, very fishy to say the least. Jordan Willis, as you rightly point out, is an accomplished scientist, done loads of research into HIV and AIDS, lots of research into COVID-19. Very accomplished guy, no form of record, living in this home in Kansas City, Missouri. He had gone to high school with 2 of the 3 men who were later found dead, was friends with the other for many years. Seemingly a completely normal guy. He lived alone in the house. He worked from home. He had his 2 beloved pit bulls there.
There. That's what I wanted to hear, Jen Smith. How many pets does he have?
2.
He has 2 pit bull mixes. They're called Sadie and Daisy. He describes them as
Sadie
the
and
light
Daisy
of his
don't have
life.
to TT for what, 72 hours?
Sadie.
Well, on this particular night, Nancy, Daisy and Sadie weren't in the house, according to Jordan Willis. They were at his father's house, which he says is something that is totally routine. He often sends them to his father's house, so they weren't actually there.
The 5th victim said what, Adam? That the dogs were there?
According to News Nation, the other night, the 5th victim, or the not victim, I'm sorry, the 5th person that we saw in the picture, that's, you know, because if you remember that picture of that from that night, there's a 5th person in it. There was now a 5th person there that night, and apparently still there. That said the dogs were in the house.
Oh, really?
We had heard from the attorney of Jordan Willis that the dogs were at his parents' house or dad's house, and not at the house that night.
Right.
So the reports of the dogs being there are conflicting now. And if anyone that has dogs, the dogs need to go outside. So, especially big dogs like that, they're not using puppy pads.
Yeah. Well, I guess this will all be sorted, but I mean, like I said, for now they're saying no foul play. But anyway, okay.
Absolutely, and they are still reporting that. And I'm just saying that there are reports out. News Nation's covered it, and other ICMO's covered it. That that said there was a 5th person there the night, and that that person reported that the dog has reported that the dogs were present the night of the events.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So sorry. Go ahead.
Claims when all of this happened.
Okay, James Shelnut joining me, high-profile lawyer, joining us out of Alabama. 27 years, metro major case in a big city. Former SWAT now leads the Shelnut law firm. James Shelnut, let me remind you, defense attorney, there is no father-son privilege like attorney-client or priest parishioner. No such thing. Husband-wife, the wife can't blab that the husband did it. So what I'm saying is, if this is true or not true about the dogs being at the dad's house when the 3 friends are found dead in the backyard and on the porch, he's got to testify if called.
Oh,
absolutely has got to testify. And, he can be subpoenaed in front of a grand jury. He doesn't have to talk to investigators when they come to his house, but they can most certainly down the road, if it becomes necessary, subpoena him to a grand jury, and then he will be forced to testify unless he himself were to take the Fifth Amendment.
Now, Shellnut, I never discuss politics because I don't want crime and crime victims to become some kind of political football. But when this reality of the law came to the forefront was during the Bill Clinton era, when Monica Lewinsky's mother was called to a grand jury and everybody was screaming, oh, the mother's going to have to testify. That's wrong. That's illegal. It's not. It is not illegal. Mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, they have to testify. They cannot take the Fifth. They've got to tell the truth about their relative, their son, their daughter. So that's when it came to the forefront, harsh as it is. Of course, I'm not saying the mom or the dad won't lie under oath. I mean, take a look at Casey Anthony, top mom. Her mother, Cindy Anthony, a very nice lady, got up on the stand and she, I believe, perjured herself and took the heat, claiming that she made the searches for homemade chloroform, which she said she meant to type chlorophyll. Okay, whatever. That said, she still got called to the stand. So if what Jen Smith is telling us, chief investigative reporter at dailymail.com, is true, the dad, I guarantee you, is going to be questioned. But back to the 3 dead bodies. Listen to Sydney Sumner from Crime Online.
On Tuesday, January 9th, 9:51 p.m., Clayton McGreeney's fiancée shows up at the house. She sees the cars in the driveway, and since nobody is answering the phone or replying to messages, she breaks into the home and screams Willis's name. She has had no communication with her partner for 2 days, and she wants answers. She walks through the house and doesn't find her fiancé. Then she looks on the back porch and sees a body.
Holy moly. So the fiancé has been trying to reach all of these guys. Let me understand, Jen Smith joining us, dailymail.com. Did she just call her fiance, Clayton McGreeney, or did she try to reach the homeowner, Jordan Willis?
All of the above. She tried to reach Clayton. She tried to reach Jordan Willis. The other families also tried to reach him. Before the fiance eventually went to the house and she ended up breaking in actually through the basement because she got no response when she banged on the door. Other families had gone there and banged on the door and tried to get in. They'd sent Jordan Willis Facebook messages. They'd called him, all of which they received silence from. So It wasn't as if this was her first attempt.
So including calling all the friends, all 4 of them, including the homeowner. And I'm not calling him the perp or the defendant because he, as of right now, has not been charged with a crime. Okay, let's pick it up with the fiance going through that, breaking in. I mean, she sees the cars out front. She sees that they're all still there, but nobody's answering the door, the phone, messages, nothing. So she breaks in wisely and starts screaming. Let's pick it up, but how did the whole thing start? Okay, let's freeze the screaming fiance in time. How did this day start off? Listen.
January 7 is a football day for the Kansas City Chiefs as they will be playing the Los Angeles Chargers. So 38-year-old Jordan Willis invites a couple of buddies to come to his house and watch the game. David Harrington, Ricky Johnson, and Clayton McGreeney arrive at Willis' house in time for the 3:25 p.m. Central Time kickoff. They enjoy the game as the Chiefs beat the Chargers 13-12, and Willis makes plans for them to all get tickets for the next home game.
Okay, what happens then?
After the game, Jordan Willis waves the guys off and crashes on the couch. Willis has known 2 of the men since they were in high school, and the other is a friend. Willis wakes up later and doesn't see the guys, so he assumes they took off and heads to bed. He leaves the doors unlocked so the guys can come and go as they please.
Okay, right there. Back to you, Jen Smith, joining us from Daily Mail. He leaves the doors unlocked, but when the fiance got there, everything was locked up tight.
Very, very strange. And I want to go back to his story about when he goes to sleep, when they leave. This has changed quite a few times. since this story came across all of our desks. Now, he has an attorney who I spoke with yesterday. Initially,
wait a
he
minute.
said,
Did you say he's lawyered up?
He is lawyered up, Nancy.
Okay.
So initially, he claims, I left them all to hang out in the living room and I go upstairs to bed. Now, the story is, I waved them goodbye, saw them out the house, then returned to the couch where I crashed. Then at some stage went from the couch to my bedroom. And sometime after that, he believes, they came back to hang out because they didn't want to go elsewhere to a bar. And that's when he's claiming there was whatever happened. But this timeline is very strange and it's changed a lot. I mean, he says, I asked him, well, how did they get back in if you'd gone to bed? Oh, I left the doors unlocked. But like you rightly point out, when the fiance shows up 2 days later, she can't get in the house.
Okay, one of the stories is that they watched the game, they made plans to buy tickets for the next game, and the three friends left, and he went to sleep on the sofa, then later went on the bed, up to his bed. The other story is that he went to bed and he left them all down there partying. Is that right? Or did he saying they left and then they came back?
Yeah, that's right. The initial story was, and this is coming from his lawyer, that he went to bed, leaving them there. And then it changed yesterday to, no, I misspoke. What I meant to say was he waved them off, they left. He then fell asleep on the couch and then later goes up to bed. And they must have come back somehow. So that's a very significant shift in narrative about the night in question.
You know what's interesting? To Dr. Jory L. Crosden joining us, psychologist, former law enforcement, now faculty at St. Leo University, and consultant with the Blue Wall Institute. Dr. Jory, thank you for being with us. You know, I remember distinctly, crystal clear, the last time I saw my fiance alive, the day he was murdered. He drove out of my driveway. I was living with my parents. He held his left arm out of his car on his way back where he lived in Athens and waved at me. That's the last time I saw him. I remember the last time I saw my dad before he passed away. But this guy seems to have a hard time remembering exactly when he saw his friends alive. They're all dead now.
Yeah, I would take two different perceptions of this. You know, that he's changing his story is one, and he may have used like a sleep aid, you know, and the sleep aid helps him go to sleep, but it also kind of affects memory, the ability to form memories. And that comes from, you know, once you get into a deep sleep, that's where memories are really getting organized in REM sleep. Certain medications like an ambient, you know, there's been a lot of research about ambient behavior, people falling asleep, getting up and doing things and not remembering them. Are you talking
about him taking some sort of a sleep aid or some type of medicine like cough medicine that would make him groggy and somnambulant? Yes, no. Okay. You know what? I want to follow up on that. Jen Smith, dailymail.com. Is there any mention of a sleep aid or any type of medication that would make him, let me just say, groggy as a vernacular for somnambulant state inducer?
Nothing so far, Nancy. So one of the questions I asked his attorney yesterday was specifically, were there any drugs involved in the evening? Were there any drugs taken by the group, by Jordan in the house? He refused to answer.
But so far, nothing about any, let's just say, Robitussin?
No,
no
nothing
Benadryl?
like that. I mean,
no Benadryl?
No.
No Ambien?
No mention of anything.
Okay,
he did mention that they had been drinking, but nothing about any kind of sleep aid or other type of, you know, legal drugs, nothing like that.
Is anyone remembering the so-called cough syrup killer who claimed he was somnambulant when he murdered his wife? Take a listen to our cut 17. This is Matthew Phelps desperately calling 911.
Tell me exactly what happened.
I think I killed my.
What do you mean by that? What happened?
I had a dream, and then I turn on the lights, and she's dead on the floor.
How?
I have blood all over me, and there's a bloody knife on the bed, and I think I did it.
You think you did it? Hell yeah, you did it. Listen.
Yeah. Okay. Is she awake at all right now? What makes you think she's dead? Is she awake?
She got breathed.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay. Do you think she is beyond any help?
I don't know. I'm too scared to get too close to her.
Okay. Just stay on the phone with me, sir. I'm here with you. I'm here with you.
I'm so scared.
I'm scared. Yes, Sydney, you better roll your eyes. She rolled her eyes almost the same time I rolled my eyes. Hey, can you find out how many times he stabbed her, Sid? Okay, but wait. But before you do that, it ain't over yet. Have you noticed how calm he is? Yeah, I think she's dead, but I'm afraid to touch her. Really? Okay, more.
When did you wake up?
No, I don't know. I took more medicine than I should have.
What medicine did you take?
I took Corseed, cough and cold, Corseed, HPP, cough and cold, because I know it can make you feel good. So a lot of times I can't sleep at night.
Okay.
I took some.
All right, so.
Okay, Robertson, you're not guilty. Corseed and HP, you're on the docket. Sydney found out from me how many times he had stabbed his wife. Does anybody just even want to guess? You know, let me throw it to you, Justin Boardman. I ain't gone to you yet. Wild guess. How many times? Don't look it up.
I'm not looking it up. I'm guessing 24.
Okay, good guess, because I was thinking 19. Dr. Kendall Crowns, you haven't looked it up, have you?
I have not.
Okay, I had a feeling that laid back Dr. Kendall Crowns had not looked it up. Just give me a wild guess. How many times did he stab his wife while he was asleep? And for those of you that can't see me, I'm absolutely using air quotes. How many times? Just throw it out there, Dr. Crowns.
56.
Good guess. 123.
Wow.
123 stab wounds, and he slept through the whole thing. Take a listen to Dave Mack. Yeah, right. CrimeOnline.com.
Matthew Phelps is a 29-year-old Bible college graduate with a fascination for the movie American Psycho. He calls 911 just after 1 a.m, claiming his wife Lauren has been stabbed. He tells police he took some cold medicine with Corseed and went to sleep. When he woke up, his wife was dead and a knife was on the bed. Lauren Phelps had been stabbed more than 100 times. And even though they find blood evidence at the scene, investigators determined that Phelps cleaned up a lot of the blood before he made the 911 call. During their investigation, police find out Phelps has told friends he wonders what it would be like to kill someone, and he likes to take cold medicine for fun. Phelps is charged with first-degree murder, and after trying to use the cold medicine defense, he pleads guilty and is sentenced to life in prison without parole.
So, Dr. Jory Crossan, I'm so glad that you brought up maybe he had, what, Benadryl? Don't
care.
Like that. Don't care. And as Jen Smith is telling us, there's been no mention of any sleep aid whatsoever. So let's get back to what really happened. Who is this guy? Who is the homeowner, as he has been described? Jordan Willis. Take a listen to investigative reporter Rachel Bonilla with CrimeOnline.com.
Jordan Willis is an HIV researcher and protein scientist who lives and works in his home in Kansas City, Missouri. Willis is an accomplished scientist whose research into COVID and HIV has been praised in the medical world. In interviews, he describes his two pit bull mixes, Sadie and Daisy, as the light of his life.
Okay. Joining me is a renowned medical examiner, the chief medical examiner in Tarrant County, that's Fort Worth, lecturer, University of Texas, Austin, and Texas Christian University Medical School, Dr. Kendall Crowns. Dr. Crowns, thank you for being with us. What is a protein scientist?
A protein scientist, they are the people that work with developing immunizations and things of that nature. They're working at like kind of more cellular, molecular level with the actual proteins that make up our bodies.
Okay,
So
could you just stop right there? I learned a lot of Latin phrases in law school, but nothing about what you just said. What? Just slow down. Speed limit 75 mph. Okay, please. What?
a protein scientist is basically someone who is looking at very detailed, minute molecular things that are associated with the body. They're often associated with developing immunizations and figuring out how viruses work, things of that nature.
He sounds brilliant, right? To figure out, to research and develop advancements in COVID-19 immunizations and vaccines and for HIV. I mean, am I getting that right, Jen Smith?
Yeah, exactly. So that was a huge amount of his research. He celebrated in the field, given plenty of interviews, a great education, Nancy, a really promising young scientist by all accounts.
Okay, so can we get back to the 3 dead bodies? One on the porch. Let's get back to what happened. Take a listen now to our friend Nicole Parton, Crime Online.
Seeing a body on the back porch, still screaming Jordan Willis' name, Clayton McGreeney's fiance calls police. Officers arrive to find Willis in his underwear with an empty glass of wine in hand, according to the victims' families. The other 2 bodies were then found in the backyard. Jordan Willis tells police he has no idea what happened.
Okay, Justin Boardman joining me, former detective, West Valley City PD, Special Victims Unit, now with Boardman Training and Consulting. Justin,
Yes,
you're joining us out of Kansas. Was there any snow on that day? That would have been Jan 7?
There was some snow. The reports say that there was like an inch or two, just barely a skiff, if you will.
Okay,
in the backyard.
Let me absorb what you just said, because if there were 3 feet of snow and there was a body under there, maybe I could accept that the homeowner, Jordan Willis, didn't see it. Did you say a skiff?
Correct.
A what?
A skiff. A skiff. So an inch or two of snow. So not enough to cover a body to where you would not see it.
Much less one on the backyard, on the back porch.
Right, especially one on the back porch, and then others out in the yard. When you look at the photographs from some of the articles, it has without the snow, but pictures of the backyard. There isn't any brush back there. It's pretty plain.
Is that true, Jen
the photos
Smith?
that I saw.
Is Justin Boardman correct? He's joining us from Kansas. What can you tell me?
Yeah, I mean, it was I think the temperature on Jan 7th went to freezing, 32 Fahrenheit, but no indication of huge piles of snow that would have concealed bodies. And, 32 Fahrenheit, if that was going to kill you, you'd have to be out there for a very long time. You'd have to be nutritionally compromised and severely dehydrated as well, I think.
Why would they just be out there for that long? Do we have a COD yet, Jen Smith, cause of death?
No, we don't. And obviously, this is going to really put the pieces of the puzzle together. The medical examiner is yet to reveal cause of death, any form of even estimation about what happened. And crucially, we don't have toxicology yet for the 3 men who were found dead. And that could explain a huge amount. But right now, no answers. And like you mentioned,
I don't know that it's
no
really
charges.
explaining anything for me, because even if they had smoked some pot, even if they had some alcohol, that would not induce them to stay out in freezing temperatures and not come back in or get in their car or bang on the door, anything. What more?
Right.
Yeah. What more do we know? Listen.
On Monday, January 8th, Jordan Willis claims he did not leave his home at all. He would normally have to take his dogs, Sadie and Daisy, outside to do their business, but they're all staying at his dad's place. Without having to take the dogs out and not leaving the house for any reason, Jordan Willis doesn't realize his buddies' cars are still parked outside his house.
Let me understand something. Jen Smith joining us from dailymail.com, who has been breaking the news on this story. So,
Adam? You gonna say anything at all? Or are you muted? Did you just need to show your face to make that?
No.
You talking about the dogs? Yeah.
Well, no, I was trying to do the same thing as Nancy is.
Oh, I see. Yes. But don't you think that everything's just seeming too perfect? That he didn't go outside, he didn't slept for 2 days.
Of course.
And then
I know
he
I'm
even
making
gave his dogs to the parents, like these things
Right.
that you love, and they just decided to go get them to. It's just like sounding like everything's just too weird, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm making light of some of it, and I don't mean that to be any disrespect to the victims that in this case, because whether or not they died nefariously or accidentally, it's horrible either way. Something just doesn't add up to me. But it's hard not to for me to not react to Nancy Grace's
Look at her face right now. Don't you love
over
it?
the top,
I know. Can
way
you
that
slow it
handles-
down to 75?
I'll say her she does a lot of extensions in her hair to make her hair look thicker.
Yeah.
And it looks good there tonight.
Okay. Okay, I'll play it again. Do you want me to continue playing?
I will be good now.
Okay.
when the cops get there, he saunters in his boxer shorts holding a glass of wine.
Yeah, he's holding an empty wine glass. Now, the victim's family took this to mean he was still drinking or drinking that morning. He claims it was a leftover empty glass from the night before that he was using for water. But he is, by the looks of things, had just got out of bed in his boxer shorts. When the police arrive, he lets them in and they find the 3 other bodies.
And that's January 9th, correct?
That's January 9th, yeah.
And the party was January 7th.
Party begins at 9 p.m. on January 7th. We know that Willis says that the others left or he went to bed at around 2 a.m. So we have all day on, of course, the remainder of the night, January 7th into 8th, all day January 8th, the night of January 8th, and then the final discovery is on January 9th in the morning.
Man, I'd be all over this looking for receipts. I'll be looking for a digital record. What about it, J. Michelle Nutt? You are a former cop before you turned defense attorney. I would be all up in his texts. Did he order in? Did he do an Instacart? Did he leave? Did he leave the home? You didn't see his friend's car still parked there? I mean, I'm just having a hard time believing this.
Well, and I agree 100%. Did he communicate with anybody at all? Number two, when you think about phones nowadays and technology nowadays, a lot of the times you can tell if someone actually reads your text. So even if he didn't proactively contact anyone, is there any indication that he read other people's messages that he received, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on his phone or some other method?
You're right. You're absolutely right about those messages. I was thinking, did he go out for pizza? Did he leave the house? Did he go to an ATM? But we know more now. Listen to Rachel Bonilla and Dave Mack at Crime Online.
As news starts to spread of the 3 friends freezing to death in the backyard while their friend is asleep inside, the families of the victims begin to speak out and ask questions. The biggest question for Jordan Willis is what happened. Next was why didn't you answer calls, text messages, and social media messages from family and friends of the three men?
The Daily Mail reports Willis insists he spent the next 2 days in his home, not thinking anything of the fact that his friends' cars were still outside, and only learned they died when the fiancé of one of the men broke into the house on January 9th in the hopes of finding him.
The changing stories are a problem. And Jen Smith, Daily Mail, do we know, as Shelnut pointed out, whether he was reading those texts and those online messages?
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be huge once it's properly probed. He says that he did not see them. We don't know yet. The messages predominantly were on Facebook Messenger, which you can tell whether or not someone has read your message. Now, the families haven't indicated specifically whether or not they got that, read receipt, but you could, for the sake of argument, see that the relatives of, your dead friend were trying to contact you and just simply not open the message. We don't know is the answer to your question, Nancy, whether or not he opened the messages. All we know is he says he didn't see them and only saw them after the police came to his home on January 9th and the bodies were found.
I'm curious as to what his reaction was when he realized all three of his friends are dead. Any news on that?
Well, he himself actually has not spoken to the media. He has actually moved out of this house now. He's deleted all of his social media accounts. So all of the communication about how he's feeling, what he's thinking is coming through this attorney. And the attorney tells me that he is, devastated, anxiously awaiting more information from the police about how his friends died, insistent that he wanted no harm to come to them, that they had the plans to go to the next Chiefs game. But he himself is yet to make any kind of public statements or give any interviews about this. I mean, I think all of us have so many unanswered questions that if he just answered them with the truth, it would explain a lot, but he hasn't said anything. He's relying on his attorney to do the talking for him.
I find that curious as well. I'm also curious if he's going to show up at their funerals. Guys, it's not the first time someone claims they slept through a death. Take a listen to our Cut 16 from Crime Online.
Here's another crime where
42-year-old Barbara Woods is at home in bed asleep with her husband when her son-in-law, Kenneth Parks, sneaks into the bedroom, stabs and chokes her husband, then turns his rage on her, using a tire iron to beat her about the head and a knife to stab her 4 times, causing her death. Parks is charged with the murder, and at trial, his attorney claims that on the night of the killing, Kenneth Parks was plunged into a deep, deep sleep. His next memory is seeing his mother-in-law's face. The attorney said he then regained consciousness and fled the house and drove to a nearby police station. According to his attorney, the 24-year-old Kenneth Parks was sleepwalking as he drove the 14 miles to his mother-in-law's house and killed her in bed, wounding his father-in-law. The jury agreed, and Parks was acquitted.
That's true. Barbara Woods at home, asleep with her husband. Her son-in-law drives 14 miles to their home. He says in his sleep.
Good point.
Murders the mother-in-law and father, beating them with a tire iron, killing the mother-in-law, wounding the father-in-law, and he was acquitted. That's right, Kenneth Parks. I'm having a hard time letting that soak in, but there's more. Take a listen to our Cut 21.
Living in a 3-story home in Buffalo, New York, while attending the University of Buffalo, Elena Zabel and her roommates go to a party at the Sigma Chi fraternity not far from their house. One of the roommates headed home earlier than the rest, and by the time Zabel made it back to the house, the door was locked and she didn't have a key. Zabel climbs through a bathroom window and notices a weird smell. Calling out for her roommate, she doesn't get a reply, but hears heavy breathing and thinks her roommate is asleep, so she goes to bed herself. Her roommate isn't sleeping. At that very moment, she's being brutally attacked. Hours later, Zabel awakes and finds her roommate clinging to life, 911 is called, and the roommate is rushed to the hospital where she spends months in a coma and a recovery that was very long. Many people question why it took so long to call for help, hours between the attack and the call for help. 4 years later, the serial rapist was convicted of rape and attempted murder.
I'm trying to make sense of what we are learning, but Jen Smith, one very disturbing facet of this case, 3 friends dead in the backyard. You don't answer text messages, phone calls for now 3 days, Jan 7, 8, and 9, when police get there on the 9th. But the changing of the stories, that shouldn't change. That what happened should not change. Jen Smith, what is the most disturbing change in the story?
I mean, for me, it has to be the fact that initially the story was he left them inside the house, hanging out downstairs. And then the second iteration of the story is, no, they left. I waved them goodbye. And then at some stage, they must have come back. One thing I do want to say, and this goes back to the fact that Jordan Willis hasn't yet spoken to the media himself. Changing stories could be down to a really ill-equipped or just incompetent attorney, right? All we've heard on Jordan Willis's behalf is coming from his attorney. Now, if Jordan Willis has his story straight and he's letting his lawyer do all the talking and the lawyer is changing the story, it's in his best interest to get out there and set the record straight. But if it is the case that he's been changing his story to his lawyer, who has been, contemporaneously changing it to the press, that's going to be hugely problematic for him down the line if there's a criminal case.
Guys, he says he slept through the whole thing and had no idea what was going on, but others disagree. Many others disagree. Take a listen to our 14 with Nicole Parton.
John Picerno, an attorney representing Willis, said his client had no idea his friends were dead until police knocked on his door. The New York Post shared a Facebook post from Kaylee Latier, who wrote, "My husband banged on his door for 20 minutes. Latier continued, "My friend banged on his door and then busted a window and yelled and announced her presence. While she's inside and still nothing from him, then the cops come 10 minutes later and he comes out nonchalant in his boxers with an empty wine glass in hand. Nothing is adding up. Dave, Clay, and Ricky need and deserve justice."
Okay, this is what I'm trying to figure out. Jen Smith, do the relatives and friends of the victims believe Jordan Willis?
No, absolutely not. Under no circumstances. They say that none of this adds up. They need more information. And they are devastated at not only their deaths, but the lack of information from him, someone who had apparently been friends with them since they were at high school, so would know their families, and from the police. From the get-go, the police said, nothing to see here, no foul play. We're going to carry on our investigation, but we have no reason to believe anyone is in danger, nor do we have any reason to believe Jordan Willis did anything wrong. Making that kind of statement before you have a cause of death, they might have been a bit hasty there, and the families are, rightfully questioning why they are so comfortable stating that there is no foul play when the investigation isn't complete. We don't even have a cause of death yet.
Dr. Kendall Crowns, Chief Medical Examiner, Tarrant County, Fort Worth, if the bodies became frozen, would that affect finding out a COD cause of death?
No, actually, the cooling or the freezing of the bodies will slow down decomposition and actually prevent decomposition, so it will maintain the body itself. So it won't alter cause of death at all. One thing you have to think of with 3 individuals dying suddenly, there has to be a commonality between all 3 of them. And an environmental factor, the fact that they're all healthy, I just can't think that they wouldn't get themselves out of a cold situation. So, could it be drugs? Could it be something else? And you also have to throw in there, you have a research scientist and his 3 friends are all now dead. It's all very odd.
Yes, odd. There's definitely smoke, but is there fire? I believe that you can sleep through something, a crime happening in the next room or right above you. What about the roommates of the Idaho students
Idaho.
in the Brian Koberger murder case. Take a listen to Dave Mack.
Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk were both home when Brian Koberger allegedly snuck into their home in the early morning hours and stabbed Maddie Mogan, Kaylee Gonzalez, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin to death in their beds. The New York Post reported the two women were texting each other while the murders were happening, and Dylan Mortensen came face to face with the killer right after the attack and gave a description of the alleged murderer, saying he was wearing black and had bushy eyebrows. This information caused a lot of online attacks, with people wondering why, if they were home and awake during the attacks and Mortensen saw the man dressed in black, why did it take hours before police were called?
We're waiting to hear answers to that. There have been a lot of suggestions online amongst trolls that the two surviving roommates actually had something to do with the murders. I can emphatically state that is not true. These two girls had nothing to do with those 4 murders. But what about this case? Okay, Dr. Jory Crozan, psychologist, former law enforcement, now faculty, St. Leo University. What do you think?
Really, there's got to be a commonality, something in their deaths. It may be like drugs or something, some kind of a drug that OD'd possibly, but certain types of drugs, like fentanyl, you could tell from the bodies possibly, but if they're frozen, they're going to be just kind of locked in that state. So,
but we don't have any reason to think these guys were using drugs. Shelnut, what do you think?
Was that David Hennessy? I'm kidding.
I'm in total agreement that there's a commonality. When you talk about drugs, you also talk about.
Okay, forget the commonality. All right, that's not really telling me anything. Yes, they probably all were killed the same way.
Well, we've talked a lot about drugs, but
I haven't talked a lot about drugs because nobody said they were using drugs.
Well, we've talked about whether or not something could have been ingested, and the bottom line is it could be drugs, but it could be a poison as well.
Sure.
3 people died in a backyard.
Am I the only one that sees the elephant in the room? A man claims he's totally unaware of search efforts for 3 of his friends. They are there for 3 days, Jan 7, 8, and 9. His story is changing. They're dead. One's on the back porch. Hello, you can see it from inside. The other 2 are out in the garden. And he says he knew nothing. What? That doesn't make sense to me. Jen Smith, could you help me, please? I mean, you want me to believe 3 guys go in the backyard and drop dead?
No, I don't think that's what happened. And I think what maybe we're trying to get at here is both could be, he could have, lied about not knowing anything, and they could have died of some kind of accidental overdose, different type of recreational drug laced with fentanyl, THC, synthetic drugs. Is there a scenario in which all of the men are taking drugs, perhaps supplied by Jordan Willis or someone else, in which the 3 of them end up dying and Jordan Willis panics and doesn't alert anybody? Is that a possibility? We don't know. Now, I want to emphatically state that the police are not saying that is what's happened, but he could have concealed the fact that his friend died of an accidental drug overdose without actually murdering them or doing something, more violent to them, just for the sake of panic and protecting his, science career.
Well, showing up when police are standing there. I mean, have you ever seen the program Cops? Because there'll be a guy sitting in his easy chair in the den, throwing back a beer, and cops come running through the house, and he just watches them go by and keeps watching TV like that's normal. I mean, this guy strolls in his underwear with a wine glass. I don't think that's a good look. One thing that is to his defense is that there was no obvious sign of foul play on the 3 bodies. They weren't shot. They weren't bludgeoned dead. There was nothing to indicate they had been murdered. So how do you wake up and your 3 friends' cars are parked outside your house? Your phones are full of messages and texts. looking for your three friends, and they're on your back porch and in your garden, and you don't know. How did that happen? Of course.
The end of it is coming right to the end. It's basically her going to be saying that. So, one thing that I didn't like at the end there is that she totally cut the dude off. So she went on this spiel about whatever, and I go, "Am I the only one that sees the elephant in the room?" No, doofus. Everyone saw the elephant in the room, obviously. But what he was trying to say, and I agree, is that these three guys died because of something. One thing that each of them possibly took that made them all drop dead. And that's really what he was trying to say. Drugs, something with fentanyl, because there's no outside, whatever. And then she kind of cuts him off there and says, like, am I the only one that sees the elephant in the room? That's the bottom line is the guys went out to do something. They all three went out in the yard. Typically when somebody goes out in the backyard, it's just to get fresh air, type of thing. Especially if you've been drinking,
Right.
you're usually more hot-blooded than cold-blooded, right? You're drinking, freaking going outside is probably feeling like plus 10 to them at the time, to be honest with you.
Right. Or you're going out to like smoke or something.
You're either going to smoke, get fresh air. That's pretty much what you're going to do.
Make a phone call, which you would take your phone with you.
But it's three of them. All of them go out.
Right.
So they obviously went out there to get fresh air, but I don't think that's the case. I don't think it was fresh air. Like maybe fresh air because they were feeling this big old buzz going on, and maybe it brought, some sort of heat wave across them inside. Right. So they went outside to all get just a fresh air. Maybe they were having a hard time breathing or something. Whatever they felt. I remember. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I have to go. I actually have to go relatively soon.
Yeah.
So I'm good for a few minutes, but I have to get up really early tomorrow morning. I'm annoyed by it, but
yeah, I've been sleeping through this. Obviously, Travis loves Nancy Grace.
Yeah,
that's my take on it personally. And Mustang. Mustang likes all their faces. Can't deny those faces, Mustang. Nancy Grace's voice and face used to bug me, to be honest with you. But then she grew on me over time. It's because of those faces and whatever, but she's actually a very sweet lady. I've seen on Twitter some of her videos and posts, and I watched her do a reading with Tyler Henry, the medium. Yeah. Very nice person, to be honest with you. Anyways, so because her voice, usually her voice is what will irritate me the most. But then she had these facial features to go with it.
And she's very dramatic. She's very over the top. She's a very opinionated female.
I mean, I'm a ham-fisted.
I would know nothing about those.
Yeah. Right. But yeah, so like I said, so maybe there's something that obviously created them to go outside. I think like the fresh air could have came again from there was something really hot inside. Like there's not, I don't think that there's a lot of different things that could have happened here, to be honest. So some people believe, okay, so I remember last time we brought up this case, I remember saying, and I seen Anna say it today as well. I had said, like, was there like some sort of tree there where a freaking lightning bolt happened that they all freaking got zapped? But you got one on the porch and two over here, type of thing. But that was just meaning it wasn't like a scenario I actually believed, but it was at least something.
It's a big backyard.
It's it's not like some freaking cows hopped over the fence and trampled them, all while they were outside and then took off. Nothing like crazy like that. So to me, it's like this is going to be something to do with drugs. I feel. I mean, it's totally something to do with drugs.
I mean, the fact that law enforcement immediately said that this is not a homicide investigation. Followed followed by the fact that there was no clear cause of death, and that they were going to have to wait for toxicology and medical examiner reports. I mean, drugs, of course, are the most likely explanation here. It's just
drinking.
It's just, but it's still. I mean, you could still because what's crazy is you can have 3 people buy a bad batch of fentanyl.
Yeah, like Blaine.
From the same person and all take it at the same time.
Yeah,
and it still isn't 100% of the time that all 3 of them simultaneously become deceased from taking it. That's what's just weird.
Well, I'll tell you.
No, so whatever these guys did, whatever they did, they all did it, and they all died somewhat around the same time.
They had to have.
And that's the weird part. So I'm not accusing Jordan Willis of anything. I'm just baffled by how bizarre this is.
Do you think there's any chance that they actually died inside and he put them outside?
I've heard people speculate that. I'm
let me put it this way.
You know me well enough to know, Sonny. I'm not going to speculate that because I don't know.
You know why it makes sense?
Could it
Adam?
be?
No,
Could it be? Of course. But I have no way. I would have no reason to think that, so I'm not going to say it.
Well, I'll tell you what makes sense, though. Okay, so is the fact of if you, me, and let's just use Travis.
Ivy.
Okay, I was going to say Ivy.
Oh,
but then I
no,
wanted
no, Travis. Yeah, no, Travis is good because
Okay.
he'd be down to party.
Right. Well, Travis can be Willis. Travis can be Willis, and Ivy can be the third male.
No, Ivy would be Willis.
Okay, Ivy can be a role. Okay, fine. So imagine if Ivy fell to the ground, right? All 3 of you guys are out there. You don't think for 1 second that the other person's body would be going, what the fuck, and rush to their friend?
Right.
And,
or
right, and that if they died, they would probably die right beside their friend on top of them or something. So meaning, if one person fell, both people would be going, what the fuck, and run towards their friend. But that's not the case here. You got 1 on the porch. You got 2 on the lawn. That almost makes me think, possibly, he's innocent. Of course, they'll prove him guilty if there's anything. It makes me think that maybe something did happen inside where they were carried out. Because it doesn't make sense that you got 3 people dead. And you'd be running right next to your friend if one person died. So either they all went ploop at the same time, like freaking, just like
and Travis, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm almost a lawyer, and I don't know if this is a Latin word or if it just autocorrected, but livor mortis would reveal them being drug outside. So either livor mortis is something that happens to your liver after drinking too much, or you meant to say rigor mortis, and I think at that point you're right. It would be very revealing if they were to have drugged outside or not.
How long after death is livor mortis? It is one of the most postmortem signs of death, along with pallor mortis, algor mortis, rigor mortis. Livor mortis usually sets in 20 to 30 minutes after death and increases its intensity until it becomes fixed at about 12 hours. Now, it does say that livor mortis, also known as postmortem hypostasis and postmortem lividity, is a passive process of blood accumulating within the blood vessels in the dependent parts of the body as a result of gravity, causing a discoloration of the skin that varies from pink to dark purple. Let me look at some pictures. Look at some images of that shit.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just looking
No,
at that.
I know what rigor mortis is.
Yeah. So.
Are you talking about lividity?
No, liver, all blood runs to the bottom of the body. Livority.
Livordi, or Livordi.
Livordi.
I know all about Livordi.
I don't know about any of that.
Yeah.
I know
That's
I
how you
watched
can usually tell. Like, say, Sonny, say you killed me, and and I was face down.
Yeah.
And then 8 hours later, you moved me, and you left me face up.
Yeah.
The fact that the blood had pooled, in my, the front of my body.
Yeah.
Would tell that that I'd been then moved and put on my back.
Mm-hmm. Well, the only thing is that obviously the coroner's report will know the answers to all that shit. Whereas the police officers aren't going to know shit probably about that stuff. Besides thinking that they died. Like I said, 3 people don't go out in the backyard and just die. And if one of them fell down, you'd be racing towards the other person. So either they just toppled over, like freaking, like what's that little game called there? Dominoes. Oh, they just toppled over once, but that doesn't make sense. That seems so unlikely. But who knows? They could have went to go get fresh air, taken something, went to go get fresh air, and then, one was standing on the porch, maybe whatever. The other, what?
Well, I want to apologize then, because I was joking about rigor mortis, and I apologize. Livor mortis is the same as lividity. I'm sorry, Travis. Thank you for correcting me.
Probably a few more weeks.
I'm not quite through all of my studies yet.
Yeah, he's still. I mean, he's working at it. I think Ivy's passing you in the lawyer thing, to be honest with you, and then. You got Anna Lisette there, Miss Reporter, very knowledgeable.
Yeah, but I'm going to score higher on my LSATs than her.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't overly like school too much. I just like creating, playing sports. I could have gave 2 rats ass about paying attention to history or freaking science. I didn't care. That stuff did not interest me whatsoever. Maybe I should, if I was in hindsight. I probably should have applied myself more in that stuff, but I was all into art and sports and language arts because we got to write poems. Gym, home ec shop, anything that wasn't to do with anything to do with math, science, social studies. There's 4 subjects typically. Those 3, gone.
Yeah.
But anyways, you guys, we're gonna wrap up tonight's live because it's 2 hours. It's 9:11 actually my time right now. And I'm sorry if some of you guys don't like Nancy Grace, but I actually do, and I kind of like I like people. I like Nancy Grace. I like Jennifer Coffendever. I like listening to the insight of people. So if you don't like her, too bad. Don't watch her then. But I
it's entertaining.
Let me put it this way: there's guests that come on there, and all those things give you food for thought.
Just like any show. Like I was watching a live stream earlier tonight. I don't want to take too much time, but that I felt like a lot of the chat that I was watching, and this was a Delphi-centered live stream, but I felt like a lot of the chat did not support or agree with the guest that was on the live stream. But I'm like, I always find that interesting because I'm like, what? I don't think anyone
deserves
I don't think anyone is at their best when they're only hearing a one-sided conversation. And so like the fact that I felt like some of the people in the chat were like, oh, you're this or you're this to the guest. I was like, no one is making you watch the stream, and 2, it's like, isn't it nice to have a different perspective sometimes, or just to hear something that Grant, I know that I'm not saying that about Nancy Grace because I know that she's just polarizing to a lot of people, but I'm like, I appreciate hearing points of view or people that I normally would not be drawn to sometimes when I'm caught off guard with them. So
You know what? Like you said,
I
either
totally missed my point there, but
I got your point.
I'm tired.
But at the end of the day, like I said, I mean, there's channels I do watch, there's channels I don't watch. But whatever, we all get pick and choose and whatever. At the end of the day, I like all sides of it. I want to hear what I'm thinking, what you guys are thinking, and like Anna Lisette, again, a lot of times she's the devil's advocate, and she gives the flip side of the coin, and I look at those as well because obviously, I mean, we don't know for sure, and stuff like that. But bottom line is that something's very strange about this case. But anyways, in general, I love other people's opinions. Absolutely. I'm never just set on my own. Well, I think at the beginning of Delphi, I was after a while there, but okay. I mean, I overcame that. Anyways, love the opinions. As like I said, as long as it's respectful. There's certain people I don't like to watch and whatever, but I do like listening to Nancy Grace and her guests. I don't watch her a lot. I watch probably more News Nation. Yeah, I used to more so.
Like during the Natalie Holloway case, I did watch Nancy Grace, but I have not in a very long time.
I think it's because Iqbal always plays Nancy Grace stuff too, and that's when I thought, oh wait, Nancy Grace. Let me see what she has to say on this because I seen a video and I was like, yeah, I'm going to show her thing. I don't think she has a problem with people watching her stuff, like some other, like hence like Murder Sheets. If you can't play any of their stuff, or else you're gonna get it copyrighted. I don't believe Nancy Grace, but this was off of the Facebook. So, right. but Iqbal's always playing Nancy Grace stuff all the time. So, she's probably a good one that doesn't sit there and go copyright strike.
Right. And so tomorrow, like I said, Sunny said earlier in the stream, is the Nicola Bully 1 year anniversary since she went missing.
Yeah.
After the stream tonight, we'll talk about when we're going. We'll do a live tomorrow afternoon Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah. Well, how about that?
The best time.
And a members live, because I was supposed to do that members live on Monday.
Yeah.
But you guys, I haven't done a thing all week, and I told you at the beginning of this video why. So sorry, my apologies to that. I had a lot of things that, because Alcatraz, and there was other things that I was Googling and stuff like that, but there was too much. I was having too much pain with my tooth. I had to go to the dentist so she could repair her job that she didn't fix, and then personal life with husband's job and all that stuff was going on. So I just couldn't. And so today I finally felt like, yes, I think everything's okay now, and I can do a live stream and feel like I'm fine with life at the moment. I better knock on wood and say that. But
so hopefully she's good tomorrow too.
So I'd like to do a members live as well tomorrow if you're up for it, Adam.
Isn't I will say, I don't know about Jordan Willis, but that dog is pretty cute, is it not?
Yeah, sure. I'm not a big pit bull fan myself.
I'm not a big. But
all animals. I mean, to me, all animals are precious. Regardless if I don't necessarily want ever to have a breed of a pit bull in my life. Bottom line is, if dogs and animals are treated right, in a sense, then they're very loving and caring. It's when they're meant to be, attacking or not brought up properly.
It's a cute dog, though.
But as for animals, I mean, they're better than people, to be honest with you. Animals just love you, Yeah. Even the stupid freaking Bambi psycho cat that pissed on the bed tonight again. Oh, drives me crazy. My husband picked out that cat, by the way. Wow. Are you? Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you, Mark. You're right.
Mark's just trying to keep me from going to bed.
Well, what the problem was is that I said we were going to gift. Thank you, Mark. I literally would have forgot on there. So let's do that quickly. There's 5 left, so let's gift now and see who gets them. Okay. So I just gifted, I believe I did.
There you go.
Yeah, you're gifted. So CJK, Phil, who got it? Daniel K, Phil Bond, Susie Q. There should be one more. Oh, Chaotic. Chaotic Beauty and Crime. Danielle K. Okay. So I'm so sorry, Mark.
Chaotic has been gifted like 3 or 4 memberships since channel.
Yeah. So thank you guys. And sorry, Mark, if you didn't get one, dude. Again, you had a good chance there. Rick roll. Okay, well, I don't think I'm going to wait for all 5 of those to play out. But anyways, so congratulations to anyone that got the memberships. Now you can not have to worry about slow mode. Now you can play with emojis. I got to take some emojis out of there. There's so many little things because I still have some Christmas ones in there. And anyways, you guys, and thank you again to Mustang for the. Now,
Mustang. I'm tired. To be honest, I don't like that song anymore.
I'm going to play the extra in a minute. In a second here, I'm sure another Rick Astley is going to go off before I finish saying what I'm saying here. It is different. Basically, at the extra, it's going to show you guys the Twitter, Instagram to follow. It's going to show you guys the merch, and it's going to show you guys the PayPal and the coffee app, QR code. Anyways, Travis is going to make me play it all along, aren't you? Director, projector, law, media, is always certain that the defendant is guilty and needs instant punishment has affected her analysis of the case. Talking about Nancy Gracie.
That's right.
Michelle's or she's talking about Michelle's. Anyways, let's go. I'm going to let one more go off. And then I'll hit the extra. Right. Okay, guys, so we're going to end the stream now. You guys have a good one. We'll see you tomorrow, whoever joins us for the Nicola
We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.